Hello and welcome to our latest wildlife film. Today we will tell you about the deer which we have observed in the wider Sherwood Forest area and in other parts of the East Midlands. There are 6 different deer species here in the UK, and we had the privilege to record 4 of these species as part of our wildlife service. The red deer is the largest of all the deer species, and it is also the largest land mammal. Furthermore, the red deer is one out of only 2 native deer species. This species lives in herds, though they do split into male and female herds from around springtime until just before the rut starts. The males are called stags and the females are called hinds. Their fur is a reddish-brown color in summer and a grayish-brown in winter. Roe deer is the second native deer species in the UK. They are a medium-sized deer and the male have antlers with a maximum of 3 tines on each side. Roe deer males are called bucks and the females are does. It is said that they are solitary, though it is understood that they form groups of 2 to 3 individuals and in open areas even larger groups over the winter months. They have a dominant white rump patch, though this fades over the summer months when that coat turns reddish-brown. Roe deer has no visible tail, though the does have a tiny tush of hair instead. Like all deer species, the bucks shed their antlers after the mating season and regrow them each year. A soft velvet cover protects the growing bones as this is very fragile. Roe deer loses their antlers around November-December time, earlier than other species. The fallow deer is the only species here in the UK which has palmated antlers. Their antlers have a large blade palm instead of a tine structure. Fallow deer is one of the introduced species. It arrived in the UK around 800 years ago, at a time when the first deer parks were founded. Unlike other introduced species, it is considered naturalized, meaning it is fully integrated within the natural environment and it is accepted as part of this. Like red deer, fallow deer lives in herds. The coat of a fallow deer is usually a pale tan color with white spots. However, this deer species may be melanistic or leucistic, meaning having too many or too few dark pigments and therefore a dark brown or a white coat. Montjuic deer is an introduced species which came from China around 100-150 years ago. This species is considered as non-native or invasive. Montjuic deer is now widely spread across parts of England and Wales. Unlike other deer species in the wider Sherwood Forest area, Montjuic deer can breed at any time of the year. Their gestation period is around 7 months and the does, the females, will come back into season immediately after giving birth. Montjuic deer usually lives in family groups, but is most often seen roaming individually. This species prefers dense woodland areas and browses primarily on ivy, bramble, coppice shoots and flowers, as well as seeds, fruit, nuts, fungi and sometimes even on leaves. The largest deer species we have observed, the red and the fallow deer, are usually grazing, meaning they're feeding on grass. Though they do browse as well, meaning feeding from trees and bushes, especially if they live in woodland habitats. Roe deer are browsers, feeding on a variety of different vegetations like bramble, ivy, herbs, bilberry, as well as coniferous and deciduous saplings. Food availability usually regulates the deer population. However, as deer has no natural predators, deer populations would grow beyond the numbers of individuals which can be supported by the natural environment. In order to keep deer population at a sustainable level, they are legally controlled, meaning hunted. However, deer is also illegally hunted for its meat, meaning it is poached. Another problem for deer is that people who are visiting natural habitat areas do unfortunately disturb the deer occasionally. Deer can easily die of shock or heart attack, and furthermore, dogs chasing deer could end up in an accident if a deer is chased onto the road. Throughout our wildlife survey, we have always looked for any signs of wildlife activity, and one day I found these footprints around a tree. And this is what was going on, or better, who was going around and around the tree. It was a roe deer doe and buck going around in circles. This is how roe deer mates. The buck follows the doe until she is ready for him to mount her. Going around in circles can make you dizzy, of course, and this goes also for deer, so they do need to change direction every now and then. Roe deer mates in July-August each year. Through a late implantation, the kid, the young roe deer, will be born in May-June the following year. As red and fallow deer are living in herds with several males and females, their mating has a slightly different format. They are not going around trees. Each herd has a dominant male who naturally not only leads the herd but also has the right to mate all the females. He will be occasionally challenged by another mature male for this right to lead the herd and to mate the females. On the periphery of the herds, younger stocks and bucks are waiting for their chance. They won't challenge the dominant male, but they will try to mate the hinds and does when he is otherwise occupied, meaning he is fighting another challenger or when he is simply too tired to care. In larger herds, where there are several younger males, these will fight amongst each other for the right to certain positions around the herd and the chance to mate the females. The process of mating by red and fallow deer is called rutting, referring more to the fight amongst the males rather than the mating itself. The rut for both deer species occurs in September-October. The fawns are born during June-July the following year, and the hinds or does will separate from the herd to give birth to the fawns. They will rejoin the herd once the fawns will be able to keep up with the group. While the fawns, or respectively the kids, are very young, the hinds, or respectively the does, may leave them in higher vegetation while they're going to feed themselves. Therefore, it is very important not to walk or let your dog roam freely through the vegetation during the summer months. Watching and photograph deer is a great thing to do all year round. There's always something going on, and it is a privilege to witness some of the key events. However, please remember, we are visitors to the natural habitat area, the home of wildlife. Enjoy your visit, but please respect the wildlife and the natural environment. I hope you have enjoyed our film about the deer and have learned something new about these beautiful animals. For now, thank you very much for watching, and we do hope to see you again soon for our next presentation.